A special presentation of KMOV-TV Channel 4, The Vision of St. Louis.
Welcome to the Fox Theater for the Phantom Phenomenon. For the next half hour, you're going to have the best seat in the house for a behind-the-scenes look at the Phantom of the Opera. I'm Mary Phelan, and we're so glad that you can be with us tonight. Of course, many of you have already seen the Phantom of the Opera, and some of you have tickets for an upcoming performance. Nevertheless, you have at least heard about Andrew Lloyd Webber's smash hit. Well, tonight, we're going to talk to cast and crew to get a behind-the-scenes peek to find out more about the Phantom Phenomenon. This is an encore performance of the Phantom of the Opera in St. Louis. 2 years ago, more than 180,000 people saw the Phantom at the Fox.
The Phantom is a phenomenon. It truly is an extraordinary piece of theater, not only a great show in and of itself, but there is such an interest in the story. I mean, it is one of the truly classic love stories. It is a mystery. It is all those things that intrigue Americans today.
The Phantom of the Opera is a novel written by Gaston Leroux about a deformed phantom with a love of music who haunts the Paris Opera House. He falls in love with a young soprano, Christine Daae, and nurtures his new star for the opera.
Turn your face away from the garish light of day.
I think we can all identify with the Phantom because each of us has something that we don't find attractive about ourselves, and I think that's part of the appeal of the story.
The Phantom was able to return to the Fox this time only because of some major stage construction.
A lot of the shows coming out of New York, the bigger, splashier productions have outgrown the dimensions of the Fox Theater. Really, in the last decade or so, as we've been presenting shows, we've never lost a show. But it was actually the production of Miss Saigon, which needs 36 feet of depth, and we only had 30 feet of depth.
So 250 tons of steel and $2 million added 20 feet to the stage depth, from 30 to 50 feet, building an entire new back wall. Last time the Phantom was here, it was a company that plays on a stage depth of 30 feet. But the company here this time needs more space.
We were not scheduled to get the other company back for several more years. And when we got word that we could get this company on a return engagement this summer, we said, well, let's hurry up and get this done.
As touring productions have become more profitable, they're designed to be just as elaborate as Broadway. This means it takes longer to set up the show, and then the show stays in the city longer.
It's bigger than a lot of shows that are designed to tour. A lot of shows are able to do quick one-week stops. We can't do that because of the complications with the set, of making the chandelier fall from the ceiling, of having people go through holes in the floor.
A less complicated show would load in a day and stay for a week. The Phantom takes 2 weeks to load in, and it will stay for 6 weeks. And yes, tickets are still available. Still ahead, we're going to meet the man behind the mask, and we'll get a peek at some of the Phantom's magic. Stay with us.
The Phantom Phenomenon is sponsored in part by Rustique Enterprises, your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers, Bath Fireplace Center, and by Hardee's.
Clear skies, plenty of sunshine.
It's all about people. It's all about heart.
Thinking about adding an energy-efficient fireplace? Demand the best. Heatalator, the first name in fireplaces to perform. Heatalator offers a wide variety of styles, and Bath has a host of pros to help you choose the best one for you. Bath Fireplace and Heatalator, they're synonymous with perfection.
Bath fireplace. Oh, what a great idea. Know the way you love to live inside out.
It's filled with these wonderful props from the Phantom of the Opera. Remember the elephant from the Hannibal opera scene early on in the show? 13 feet tall and 1,200 pounds. And then the big bed in the other opera scene where Christine Daae plays a little page boy. Here's her feather duster. Remember the mannequins that are in the masquerade scene? And then, of course, the Phantom's organ, where he composes his music of the night. You know, seeing all of these props makes you realize how much work went on 2 weeks before the show opened here at the Fox. The Phantom in all its magic arrives in 23 trailer trucks, box after box, bringing in 479 different lights, 230 costumes, more than 120 wigs, 2,700 yards of fabric for the different backdrops and drapes, 42 microphones, 50 speakers, miles of cable, everything for a big-time production.
Hey, Eddie, this is a keyboard.
A crew of about 75, some local and some who travel city to city with the show, work about 2 weeks to turn the Fox Theater into the Paris Opera House, the setting for this musical.
Eddie, we're gonna go up. Jeff, are you ready on that side?
The Phantom has a duplicate set of some props that arrive 2 weeks before the show opens. The rest of the set and props arrive a week later.
Hold that, hold that.
Week 1 of loading in. It looks like they have a long ways to go.
This is normal for us. It's about a whole 2 week put-in to get the whole show in to the theater. So the first week is, even the beginning of the second week is pretty messy. We've got the deck coming in over here, and we've got cables being laid for electric, for the automation in the deck. So it'll stay a mess for a while. It's a slow process.
Dave, we're going up, okay? All right, going up.
The proscenium, the gold sculptures
Ready,
around
ready,
the opening
Joe,
of the stage, they went up first. If you've seen the show, you might have thought this prop was part of the Fox Theater. It blends in so well.
That's it. All right, that's it, guys. We'll bolt from there. We start on a Monday, let's say. We have to rig the motors in the ceiling, get them all secure, bring the pieces in, bolt them together, put on the sculptures, fly it out to one level, bolt on the next piece underneath, fly it out, bolt on the next piece, fly it out. We'll put on all those pieces. And only when that's done, and that's usually about Thursday or Friday, it's up and ready to light.
Okay, let me have 239 at full, please. This could use a little work. It's probably just a breaker. Let's go ahead and roll that upstage to about the...
It's Alan Lampel's job to make sure all the lights are working. He's the advanced electrician, and as all the lights get put into place...
And kill that. Very good.
They're all checked out.
In all your fantasies.
Automated effects are a big part of the Phantom show, such as creating the Phantom's candlelit lair below the Opera House.
How about effect 32? Are you plugging that now?
Take it to 100.
How's the speed?
Excellent speed.
There's two operators. Billy, who's out on the deck now, operates the auto fly. What that handles is the chandelier, the angel that comes in. It's things that are actually going into the air in the theater, you say are flying. So those are all the fly pieces. He controls those. Pieces on the deck, like the candles that come up from underneath, the candelabras that telescope up that come on, those are controlled by this console here.
Line set 46. Down one, back.
Richard Creasy is head flyman. When you see a backdrop fly in, know that Richard and a crew of 5 are backstage pulling ropes.
Whoop, hold it. That's low trim.
This is the low trim right here. This is what I hit to come to when I'm bringing a set in.
If you've heard anyone talk about the Phantom of the Opera, you've probably heard them talk about the chandelier. It has a part as big as some of the performers. 10 feet tall, it weighs more than 1,000 pounds and is jeweled with 35,000 beads. The Fox had to structurally reinforce the ceiling to accommodate the chandelier.
It's got roughly three car-sized batteries, roughly, and 3 chargers, actual battery chargers on board as well.
50 globes light up the chandelier, and the remote-controlled lighting is all part of the show.
At one point, we do a random chasing, and so that it looks like it's going nuts. Then there's a 4th circuit in here that also fires off these flash bulbs so that when it crashes, there's an explosion internal to it, a couple of other effects going on at the very split second that it crashes.
Okay, right now, this is one of the deck pots.
Joe Goles is the Phantom's pyrotechnician. A few days before the show, Joe was demonstrating the controlled explosions to the fire marshal and ATF agents, requirements of the job. And then there's the illusion of the boat scene. That's when they create the lake beneath the Paris Opera House. And here I am, actually in the Phantom's boat. Now, when you see the show, it appears that the Phantom is behind Christine Daae paddling the boat. But in reality, he's not paddling at all. It's actually Mike Bernstein at the remote control way off stage.
It's got a 5-horsepower motor, so only got one. I have a controller that I have right here. Okay, I have these 2 sticks on it, just left and right, and a forward and reverse. Practice makes perfect, as they say.
Stay with us. We head to dance rehearsal coming up next.
We know the way.
Southwest Airlines is having a 50% off sale.
I don't understand it. Southwest already has the lowest fare, so now you're having a sale?
Yep. Now, our everyday low fare is 50% off when you purchase 14 days in advance.
I mean, it's a great deal, but I kind of feel like I'm taking advantage of them.
Just purchase your tickets by August 31st and travel through January 9th.
I mean, Southwest having a sale? Isn't that redundant?
Fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. The low-fare airline.
So you play the music, okay? Ready? And 1, but who can name the face? Great, thank you. Thank you, good. Denny Berry is production dance supervisor. And watch just 1 hour of this rehearsal and, well, you're tired and you have a new appreciation of these dancers. These actors perform 8 times a week. They have a brush-up rehearsal every 4 to 6 weeks. Meanwhile, back at the stage, it's dark. A lone light focusing on an exact spot. The theater is thumping, what company soundman Rob Rick calls phasing the speakers.
I'll have 6 people on one of these single faders.
Rob is in control of just about everything you hear.
The dream begin, let your dark side give in.
From the whispers of Christine to the Phantom's haunting screams.
There are certain sections where the Phantom's voice is supposed to be oozing out of the theater walls.
So during the show, Rob is keeping track of 21 microphones on the performers and 21 mics in the orchestra, plus a few sound effects.
Many times people come up to me and they say, you know, I don't think you're using microphones. Are you using any microphones? And I'll say, you know, thank you very much. That means I'm doing my job.
During the show, stage manager Evan Ensign is watching every move and calling cues.
I call all of the lighting cues from here, and we give visual cues whenever we want an automated piece to move or a rail piece to move. So I would go through and I would warn an auto deck cue and then give them their light, which lights up a light next to them. When I take the cue, then they'll push the button.
This little dress, she only gets seen for about 2 minutes in the show.
Down below the stage area, Michael Hanna, the wardrobe supervisor, has organized his more than 350 costumes. 230 different ones are seen in the show, and then he has a few duplicates.
Okay, this is one of Christine's costumes. This is her dress for the second manager scene, and she has about a minute and a half to get out of her masquerade costume and into this costume. So the change happens pretty much directly right off stage.
In the entire show, Christine is in every scene except one. So if she's not on stage, she's probably changing into one of her 10 costumes. And it's Michael's job to keep those costumes looking new and in good condition.
It's a constant battle with the show itself, unfortunately. Like, for example, there's Christine at the end of the show in a wedding gown rolling around on the floor. Of course, it's white, and, you know, we have to keep it white.
And there's something else that needs to be kept white. Of course, the Phantom's mask. I'm in the makeup room right now with Rick Hilsebeck, who actually plays the Phantom of the Opera. He's here in makeup for 2 hours before every performance.
People always say, they go, you look nothing like, and I always, well, thank God. Geez, what do you expect, you know?
One, heads up, high, crowd, paper, push. This rehearsal is for Masquerade, a favorite scene that opens the second act. Coming up, we're going to tell you what the Phantom thinks of playing the Fox Theater in St. Louis. And we're going to tell you about some unusual family connections between the cast and crew of this show. Stay with us.
The DA.
Your tickets by August 31st and travel through January 9th.
I mean, Southwest having a sale, isn't that redundant?
Fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. The low-fare airline.
When you're getting your news from St. Louis Television's most experienced anchor team, you'll know you're on 4. When you watch this city's most respected health reporter,
Al Wyman, News 4.
you'll know you're on 4. When you've got Jody Davis in your corner.
That's unbelievable. There's no excuse for that.
When you take Steve Siddlar's Sports Challenge. Or whenever you turn to Trish. When you're watching your news, you'll know you're on 4.
There are 120 wigs which travel with the Phantom of the Opera. Now, each character has several costume changes, which means that each character has to have several wig changes. And in addition to that, both Christine and the Phantom have a duplicate set of all of their wigs. One for the matinee, and then one for that night's performance. Now, on television, you've seen us wear our microphones clipped to our lapels. Here at Phantom of the Opera, all the actors have a microphone which comes up over their scalp and clips to their hair. And then they put the wig over the microphone. Rick Hilsebeck has been with this company 5 years and has played the Phantom for 2.5 years now. 10 years of a dance career and a mother who's a vocal teacher helped him prepare for this role.
There's so much about this role that it's really an emotional roller coaster. He's a rich character in the sense that it's one of those roles in the musical theater that is a dream of a lifetime for any actor. Right on the lines where the ball cap will be glued down.
Rick admits he's nervous before every show, but he says playing in the Fox Theater is a thrill.
It is absolutely the most beautiful theater I've ever seen. I mean, really, it is. The vastness, the grandeur of it. I mean, the show is made to be in here, and we hope that we can fill it. You know what I mean? And not just with people, but just fill the theater with the show and the music.
Sarah Pfisterer was the Christine understudy right out of college, then became the alternate Christine, performing twice a week. And now, for the last 2 years, she has performed the role 6 times a week.
The first time I went on as Christine, I had bruises all over my body. I had bruises on the bottom of my feet. And, you know, that's not the way it is anymore. I'm used to the role and everything. But it's physically demanding. And when I watch the show, when somebody else is playing Christine, I think, God, it looks so easy. I think it's really a story of Beauty and the Beast. And I've loved that story all my life. My favorite thing about my show is that Christine really gets to make a change. She really grows up through the course of the show, and that's always a challenge as an actress.
There's a real sense of family here. Many of the cast and crew have been with the touring company since the beginning 5 years ago. And some of them are family. There are 8 couples who travel and work on the show. The automation carpenter is married to the hairdresser. The flyman and the carpenter are brothers. And Rick, who plays the Phantom, is married to Kitty Skillman-Hilzebeck, who plays Meg Giry. And now, time for the reviews.
It was fantastic. I cried.
It's the first time I've ever seen it, and I thought it was like the best thing in the whole world. It was just totally awesome.
Just sends you to another world.
The stunts were spectacular. I mean, you wouldn't think you'd see that on stage, just at the movies, and I thought it was excellent.
That was the first time that I have ever seen Phantom of the Opera, and it made me cry, but it was really good. I liked it.
So what is it about the Phantom? What makes you want to come back again and again? Well, of course, you've got a great story with mystery and romance, beautiful music, and then so much going on stage, everything from costumes to scenery to special effects, that you want to just keep coming back for more. So whether this is your first time or your 5th, we hope that with a glimpse backstage and behind the scenes, that you can better appreciate the Phantom phenomenon, the Phantom of the Opera at the Fox Theater. Thanks for being with us. Good night.
The Phantom phenomenon has been sponsored in part by Rusty